Moore, world-ranked professional boxer. New England doesn't build soft fighters.
And that is it. That is all she wrote.
I grew up here, made in the cold mornings, empty gyms, and long winters.
She got pinned up in the corner again.
Boxing for Team USA took me around the world.
And there goes that right.
Oh yeah, working the body now.
March 28th, I fight for the NABF interim title. This isn't just another fight.
One of the bigger questions for this Boston squad is what can Amelia Moore do for Hardcore?
This is my next step towards a world title.
You see, this could be the turning point of the event here.
This could be it. I know Boston is counting on these points.
Scan the QR code. Use promo code MORE. Choose your seats. See you March 28th.
Mariano Agnew with the final bell, and I'm happy to be joined once again by Amelia Moore. Amelia, how are you?
Hello, hello, hello. What are we, 17 days out now?
17, yeah.
Yeah.
How's training going for your fight against Bonnie Hunter at the North Shore Music Theater on March 20th?
Yeah, I mean, like it always is, smooth, consistent, just every single day, just putting that work in. Back at the Olympic Training Center, getting good sparring in. My really good friend, Nili Block, is back from Israel, so had some really great rounds with her. She's a 7-time world kickboxing champion, so I fortunate to have good people around me, high-level athletes. So, you know, just iron sharpens iron and lean into growth.
Yeah. And you were mentioning to me you train like 3 times a day. So what does that look like on a regular day?
Well, I mean, usually it's 2, but you know, we're 17 days out, we're a week, 2 weeks out from travel day. And I like to make sure that my weight cuts it's more of like a weight management thing. So, we're like, you have to do weight management at nighttime. You have to, you eat, you train, you stretch in the sauna, and then you go to bed. But yeah, I mean, we're 2 weeks out from travel day. And that's really kind of like, we said we're going to start to taper next week. So, get ahead of the weight before, and it's not even like it's a huge thing for me, but I really like to be able to kind of chip away at it and make it as natural as possible. So that we're not fighting, weight at the end, where a lot of people do. They like to suffer. I don't know what that deal is, but people like to really suffer those last, the night before weigh-ins. And I'm like, I don't really think that's healthy. So, just chip away at it the next 2 weeks, and every day just keep chipping away, and then we'll be there and pretty much be really close to weight by the time we even get on the plane, so we're not stressed and dehydrated on the plane and stuff like that.
How does that work energy-wise? Like, say, if you, assuming that you've done the other way before, where, you do kind of suffer a bit closer to the fight. Like, how does that feel when you're on fight day? What have you noticed as a difference?
I mean, this is controlled, you know what I mean? When you handle weight cuts, like weight management, where it's, you diet and you do things specifically like with your body, I think it's so much different, right? Like you're training at that weight. It's physiologically, normal. You're supporting your hormones, you're not in this like crazy yo-yo. But I mean, when you decide to struggle and make it really, really hard, you don't know what you're going to get on the other side of that.
Right.
You could dehydrate yourself to the point where, you can't digest, you eat something and you're on the toilet for 6 hours and you haven't even retained any of that fluid. So, like, do you want to gamble and make this really interesting, or you want to be
surprised.
like, I'd rather, you want to surprise, like, what's in the Jack in the Box? Just keep cranking that and you'll figure it out. And,
right.
But yeah,
and it changes probably, right, over time, like as you get older, like,
you never know. Like
right.
Literally, like, I mean, I was just at one of the gyms in Denver, and they were getting their guys in, and there was one guy in the sauna, man, and he was in there for like an hour. He had 0.7 of a pound, and he was dry. Like, there was nothing else coming off. Like, the stress and the mental load of that. Why would you do that? I don't know. It's not for me. Like, I've had, especially early in the amateurs, like you have to trial by fire, and you figure things out that don't work, and then you get educated and you meet people, and you get good teams with you, and you educate yourself some more, and then you realize that like all of that suffering wasn't necessary. So
I mean, look, Richardson Hitchens didn't go through with a fight in a couple of weeks ago because of this reason. A lot of people think.
Yeah,
there was
and
an
it's
MMA
crazy
fighter who
because
felt face first, right?
I'm pretty sure that he, he has he's got a whole dietitian team behind
Oh,
him. Like,
right.
what are you doing? Like, that's to me,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense. Like, this should be a progressive thing. You can't, right? And the amount of times that you stress yourself, I think we've talked about this before. I mean, the cortisol is real. Like, this is your ghrelin response and how hungry you are, and your reaction to dehydrating too early. These are all stress signals. Like, I mean, ghrelin's not, it's your hunger hormone, but like cortisol and, these other, when you affect your hormones, like the more you push on that button, the more it pushes back. Like, this is not rocket science. This is physiology.
Yeah.
So, again, like the amount of times that you abuse that pipeline, it's going to shut down on you eventually. So,
Right.
yeah, do it right. Even if
You would,
you
you would
have to
think as a
do,
professional, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, even if you got to do a 20-minute run after you eat at
Yeah.
nighttime, it's 20 minutes. Like, who cares? Like, it's
Right.
nothing, it's a jog. You're just trying to digest, and which is what I'm doing tonight. Like, I'm literally gonna eat, do my 20-minute run, stretch in the sauna for 15 to 20 minutes, and just not, I'm not in there to lose weight. I'm not using the sauna as like this big weight cut measurement. No, I'm using it to detoxify, relax, like, quiet my mind. Then you take a shower, you get ready for bed. I like to, you got to create these processes that work for you and not against you.
Definitely. No, definitely. Um, you're fighting in Beverly, Mass, which is how far away from Oxford Hills, where you grew up
I
in
think it's
Maine?
like 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Really, it's funny, like you mentioned that I got together with a friend a couple weeks ago, was hashing ideas while I was on the road up to my S&C coach, and was like, what if we had a fan bus? And she was like, I think you could do it. And my friend Mulaney, like, just bless her heart. She helped me coordinate with a bunch of our friends. We're all a little bit older now. A lot of us have businesses and
Yeah.
are in the area. And the guys just, that I went to high school with, everyone just kind of rallied. And 4 companies got together and funded this fan bus. And we're getting it out there, trying to get this bus filled, 38 passenger bus, so that it's no longer like kind of taking the barriers away, so that people can actually just come, and like be there, pay for their flight ticket, and be able to not worry about transportation and coordinating who's going, who's not going. Like, just show up, get on the bus, and come watch me
Yeah.
fight, come be
Part
part
of
of
the
this.
journey. That'd be great.
Yeah, totally. So it's been wild. It's kind of like just a testament of like, if you decide to go do something, like, man, just, the universe sometimes just works with you, when you go into it wholeheartedly. And I just thought that was a crazy opportunity, especially for like, if some of the younger kids want to go, and,
Right.
their parents. And it's like, anybody can go to one of our shows, you know what I mean? It's an all ages
Sure.
event. So yeah,
Yeah.
bring the
It's gonna be,
kids.
and I read it's $10 for the bus, right? For the
Yeah,
bus,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Great.
we were able to get it like pretty much completely funded except for about $250. So then
That's great.
we were like, well, $10 will cover that, and then the tip for the driver. So
Yeah.
for that last little bit. So yeah. So
Yeah.
pretty exciting. It's
For
dope.
sure.
I'm thrilled. My heart's so full. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. I wanna, I'm always just trying to do something a little bit different.
Yeah. If you can't fight in your hometown, you bring your hometown to you, right? So
Absolutely.
that's awesome. And, look, we should mention, for the vacant NABF Lightweight Championship. So, for them to get to see you fight for your first pro title is huge.
Yeah.
Right. And you're fighting
Yeah.
against Bonnie Hunter, who recently fought your stablemate, Stevie Jane Coleman, on October 11th of last year, same day that you fought
Yep.
Victoria Mason. What do you know about Bonnie?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to watch her and Stevie fight.
Yep.
She likes to match, and Stevie likes to work inside, and Bonnie was game. And she's a number 2 in Canada. We were supposed to fight in November 2nd on a card in Rhode Island, and unfortunately the whole card was canceled. So, plenty of time for us to kind of get ready for each other. And I think that that's appropriate for going for an interim title, like NABF, like really giving its due respect that
Yeah.
these 2 athletes will be prepared.
Yeah.
So, it's not, it's so unfortunate when you see a lot of, we talk about like A, B side, and the A side's fully ready for that date, and then the B side comes in super late, but that's not the case. Like, all of my fights, I've talked about this every single time. Like, I want progressive fights. I want fair fights. I want, because that's what moves the sport forward. That's what makes it exciting, you know, and it's let's do it. Let's do it for real. I'm not here to pretend, you know, not a long time,
Yeah.
but a damn good time.
Yeah, yeah. She's fought, you know, like you guys both fought on the same day, so same activity. She fought 3 times last year.
Okay.
And you know, and she didn't get hurt on that fight. So I think we're headed for a really good fight. What do you think is going to be the difference between you guys?
I mean, I would definitely say my experience and I'm fast. Like it's I think that's the really big thing. I mean, I've seen everything there is to see. I'm super comfortable with orthodox, super comfortable with southpaws. I mean, it's like I've seen it all, you know, after 125 amateur fights all over the world. It's you know, and then again too, it's like she has 12 pro fights, I believe, six and six. And
Right.
um that's great, you know, like the pros are different than the amateurs. And, you know, there's that grittiness and that, you know, having gone longer rounds in competition. And um, but yeah, I mean, I train for that. I love it. And so I just I know what my skill set is. I know that I'm faster. I know I have more tools in my toolbox. I know that my feet are fantastic. And that's really going to be, you know, this is where we level up, right? You know, we become super proficient in those really foundational things, and that starts to spread the margin. And so, you know, just really leaning into that, you know, being solid foundationally, and it speaks for itself.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of your last fight, you were going in, you know, I guess you hadn't fought since April because of the nose injury that you suffered in the TBL.
Mm.
How did tell me a little bit about that fight? Was there some apprehension going in, just to wonder, you know, how your nose is going to hold up to getting hit again, or how
I
did
mean,
what do you
not
think?
really. I mean, we had plenty of sparring rounds.
Yeah,
Obviously, the beginning of camp, we, you know, as we led into that, I was wearing a bar, just to
yeah,
kind of give it a little bit of space. And I think the body has to adjust. Uh, I mean, apprehension, not for injury. I'm not scared of anything. I mean, I broke my nose in 5 places and finished that fight and was just like,
and
I'm
still
fine. I will, yeah, like still trying
over there.
to drive myself to the hospital. Like I was like, I'm
Right.
fine. You know, I don't need an ambulance. I'll make a big deal. But you know, I think competition wise, it's like, you know, when you're out of the ring for a little while, it is a thing. You have to be active. And just finding that distance and the pace again, and then fighting somebody who at the end of the day, MMA fighters are not boxers. Like their tempo, their movement, everything is so different than the way we do things. And so I think like it's making those adjustments too. And so, you know, having a little bit of time off, getting back in, and just having kind of an awkward opponent that
Yeah.
wanted to run from me, you know? So, and that's just kind of having to like use that length and cut the ring down. So I don't think apprehension, it's just, you know, getting in there and just doing the thing and, you
Yeah.
know, on to the next.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, you did chase her down, you knocked her down, you
Yeah.
dominated the fight. I think 2 out of the 3 judges gave you all of the rounds, and I think one of them gave her 1 round. So it was
Yeah.
a pretty much a shutout. And that fight was at lightweight, as is this one. So one of the questions I had for you is, you know, how do you feel fighting at lightweight versus at 140 pounds where you fought your first 2 fights?
Yeah, I mean, I walk around even at my heaviest, probably like 144. So like, you know, when we, you know, at 140, it's not really a cut, you know, it's and it doesn't really matter because I train the same. It's just you have a little bit of weight management to go. There's a little bit of that conscious, you have to be really conscious of when you travel. And just making sure you're eating enough. And I really think like especially as I go down in weight, that's the thing that I think people don't think of. They're like, "Oh, you must be eating less." And it's actually no, like I have to actually make sure I'm eating enough. Because that's when it really kind of gets tricky. And like I fought all the way down at 125 pounds. I'm 5'8".
Right.
Like 135 is a joke. Like that's not a weight cut for me. Even so, I fought 60 kilo and that was my staple weight at for the Olympics. So and being on Team USA, which is 132. So that's even lower than 135. So, you know, and I always kind of felt like when I was on my way down to 60 kilo, 135 was kind of that place where it's just like it's that point where you're like, no, the buy's like, no, no, no. And then as soon as you get by that, it's like I could go all the way down to 125. Not that I want to or ever will. That's never again. Just putting that on the record. Like, will never happen again. You can
Yeah.
pay me 3 million, I'll do it. Um, but
Just settle into one of these divisions and you're good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if
135,
there's a massive incentive, I'll suffer for a good for good pay. But yeah, no, it's I really don't feel like there's a big difference. It's just being conscious of what you're doing and knowing that it needs to be progressive and chip, 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 chip away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. And looking at the rankings for those weight classes, you're already ranked number 2 with the WBO, number 7 with the WBA at 140, and now this fight is at 135 for the NABF title. So presumably you'll be somewhere in that top 10 for the WBC at 135 pounds. So I'm not asking you to look ahead, but if we were to have a little bit of fun here and look at, who's on top in those divisions, is there anyone that is there a preference for you as to like challenging someone for a 140-pound title versus 135 or?
I mean, it's kind of like what opportunity presents itself. I mean, the
Yeah,
really big thing about the NABF title and having this opportunity to step into the world rankings for the WBC is to get into that conversation, right? Like it's very pointed. Like that's why we're doing this.
yeah,
I have a massive amateur background. My pedigree is what it is. And with that, people, it's just like people want to take the less difficult route. And it's, a
sure.
lot of times people shy away from difficult fights. I think the only person that doesn't shy away from difficult fights is Clarissa Shields. Like, and Daniel Perkins, like, there's it is what it is. I mean, there's a few others, out there, but people are conscious about the route that they take. And so when you see somebody like me that they know that this is a massive challenge and it's going to be a hell of a fight, um, you have to position. For me, it's like that key for CES for us
Yeah.
is positioning me in a place where that's non-negotiable. Like you can't say no,
Can't
everybody that's
deny.
out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
you become
yeah.
undeniable. So really like that's the purpose of taking this next step. Along with that, yeah, of course. I mean, right now, like you just said, WBO, I'm number 2. There's a number 1. Katie Taylor is going to be retiring, taking her fight, which is such an incredible, she'll be retiring in Ireland. Such an amazing thing going there. But along with that, there's going to be some movement finally within the division. So, if there's a title opportunity, we could probably see one later this year. Maybe another 2 fights from now in the late summer or early spring, or not spring, early fall. And like I said, that if the number 1, I forget what the girl's name is for the WBO, but she's in that number 1 spot and there's
Trisha
potential there.
Bergold, right? Trisha,
Maybe from Sweden
Swedish.
or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. That's
okay.
right. Yeah.
So, and then, Samantha Worthington just lost her interim title. So
Mhm.
there's, potential there with the girl, and I forget, is it Argentina? I forget which
Oh,
country.
Soledad Matisse.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, there's potential there too if they wanted
Yeah,
to
sure.
have a fight. And then there's been talk about Stephanie Hahn for WBA at 135.
That'd be a
And
great
that's
fight.
I really want that fight. It's like we keep
I
talking
I
about
love that
it.
fight for you. I think that would be a
Yeah,
great fight.
I do too. I think that,
Yeah.
and there's, MVP's got a lot going on right now with their ESPN deal, and really creating a space for women's boxing. And they put on great freaking shows, man. Like it's undeniable. Like their production value, how they run things, like it's top notch. Like it's as it should be. And they're undeniably one of the top promotions out there. It's like Matchroom does it big, Top Rank does a very good job. MVP has proven themselves to put on really fantastic shows. So I think that there's a lot of potential out there right now. Take this step, and then yeah, there's whatever's next for sure. Just keep grinding.
And speaking of MVP, and what Dana White is trying to do on the male side, it looks like he's been pretty open that he wants to create a league. Are you thinking that the same thing is going to happen with women with MVP? Because they seem to be signing up most of the top talent, right? They have enough that they could probably do that. Do you think that's where we're headed here?
I don't think we're gonna see a merger with Zuffa.
No, what I mean is that
Yeah.
MVP will start its own league and it'll be a female league. with
I
like the
think
best fighting the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they have their champions. They signed everybody. They're trying to sign everyone with belts,
Right.
which, that's going to create the draw. They're signing people
Yeah.
with massive followings. Again, I mean, it's all strategic, right? And then there's the peppered few in there, that are going to be the ones that, halfway build because they're kind of halfway into their career. So, sign enough to be able to have several shows a year and be able to have movement, but also be able to bring people in and sign those, sign fight deals that way. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to run it any other. I don't think it's going to be like I mean, it's its own promotion at this point, right? Like it's the women's side. So is it a
Mhm.
league? I don't know if we can call it a league. But they're signing people and obviously they're going to have exclusive rights to those athletes. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they're still going to have contracts. They're still going to need to bring people in. So
Yeah.
regardless,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of the point, is to get traction and movement. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't think so. I don't think
Well,
it's going
yeah,
to
I don't know.
be
I
like
hope not.
Zuffa.
Yeah, the boxing purist in me doesn't want that to happen, only because I do
Yeah.
like to see co-promotions, right? You're with CES.
Yep.
It would be good for them, why deny you a chance just because you're not under the MVP banner or somebody else, right? Like, so that they can compete for a title. So I do prefer it this way, where it's like, look, let's just see what happens and let's make fights, but let's make the great fights, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to
Yeah.
always be all under one banner and
Invigorate it and put, there's
exactly
money to be put in, but also,
right.
there's athletes coming from, and that's what creates, you have to have this diversity, because if you don't, you get stagnation. So it's like, at the end of the day, you can't just this is what we have and have no flexibility. And I think that especially Jake and Akisa, they all, they want to work with the commissions. It's very obvious, like this is a traditional boxing
Yeah.
situation. Like, we're not
Yeah.
trying to make our own rules. We're not trying to make our own belts. Like, we want to push women's boxing. Let's do this. So, yeah.
It's a good time to be a female fighter, I think, because you have the pool's getting deeper, right? It's so you have a good mix of like experienced veterans and new blood coming in, even in the divisions we were just talking about. And then you have ESPN now dedicating a lot of time, I think, to women's sports. And so, back to the MVP signing with them. So yeah, there seems to be a lot of opportunity. So looking at those divisions we talked about, so Terry Harper, I would say, is probably the veteran at 135, and then you have the new blood, right? Alif Turhan, who's a big power puncher,
Yeah.
Stephanie
Terry Harper's
Hahn.
about to fight Carolyn Dubois, though.
That's right. They're
So
gonna they're
that's
gonna
going to be a
unify.
fantastic,
Yeah.
that's going to be, will be watching that just because
Yes.
it's great.
How do you see that fight going?
Um, I mean, she's a veteran, man. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like, um, Carolyn's her eyes, the way she tracks things and her explosiveness, uh, she's dangerous. I think Harper's got a point. Like, she's talked about Dubois' gas tank.
Yeah.
That's real. I mean, we saw Camila Panada. I mean, I've been a stablemate of Camila's. She was on the Boston Butchers. I've known Camila for years and years and years now, and which was crazy. I watched Dubois drop Camila in one of those rounds, and Camila's good. Like, she also took that fight on pretty short notice. So, um, and went up in weight, and I still feel like Camila, it was more competitive than I thought. Especially short notice. But, like, again, Camila has a great she's good, and she has such she's just a great athlete. But again, short notice, going up in weight, it's I just all the cards were in Carolyn's hands, and it's just like, sometimes when you see this distance, she's very powerful, she's very fast. Um, we all have things that we need to work on, right? So I mean, you could pick someone
Sure.
apart, but it's really about how do we shut down those strengths and expose those weaknesses. Um, as much as possible. So I don't know, we'll see what Harper does. I think she has a point about the gas tank, but again, Dubois is fast, man, and
Yeah, it's
she's
like youth versus
very good on
experience.
her feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which makes for a great fight.
Yeah.
Um, Another one at 140 that we haven't talked about yet is Sandy Ryan, who just won the WBC title there. What are your thoughts on her as a fighter?
Yeah. I mean, potentially that'd be a great fight too.
Yeah.
Uh, I she likes to slug. She's got a really great gas tank. I think what we saw with Michaela's second fight with her is that Sandy is just not a technical fighter.
Mhm.
And it is what it is. I mean, when you get back down to the bare bones of it, you can try to walk somebody down, but if you can't take angles and you don't use your feet, you can be outboxed and outsmarted. And not saying that like that's the end all be all. We're talking about a bull in a china closet, right? Like Sandy's pretty freaking strong. She trains really hard. Um, but yeah, I that would be a great fight too.
Absolutely. So you're two years into your career. I know you started in like November 2024. And it's pretty impressive that you're in the top 10 already with and that top five with pretty much two of the organizations. Are you where you imagined you would be, or where are you versus where you imagined you would be when you turned pro?
I had no expectations. I felt like going into last year into 25, I had this whole game plan, sat down with Pat Sullivan of CES and Mr. Birchfield and was like, this is all the things I want to do. And they were like, yeah. And we wrote it out and it the universe has its way of doing what it does, and the whole thing went down the toilet. So but I mean, I gained so much other valuable experience. I got to watch more fights than I've ever watched in my entire life. Got to train all over the place again, which is something I love to do. Meet new people. And I honestly, like, we talk about fight career, and I think it's actually working out better than I thought it even my plan had been. And like I think that's the beauty of it, is like, be flexible, things are going to change. And I mean, I'm not mad. I had somebody else. There's a writer from Mark Baldwin from the UK, and he like sent me some questions too. And he was like, are you where you thought you would be? And I'm just like, I, I think I'm in the top, I'm ranked in the top 10 and two of the big four, and I'm about to go for a title in my fourth fight. Like, where else should I be? And
Oh
I've
no,
also
honestly, I
done
think
sports commentating, and
yeah, yeah, no,
it's been a
super impressive.
fun ride so far. So I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
I had all this planned, but I had to
Hmm.
let go of expectation. And really, I think that was the lesson, is best foot forward with each
Yeah,
step that we take and make it meaningful and purposeful. And
sure.
can't really be mad after that.
Not at all. Well, you had like new opportunities, and sometimes it's better to slow things down a little bit because I think it's pretty impressive. Three fights in, you're already in the top, top 10 with two out of the four sanctioning bodies ready to get a title. Um, Last question, because I'm standing between you and your pork chops. Um, what, what do you want to say to the fans that are going to be coming to see you in Beverly, Mass on March 28th, or, for some in Colorado, I'm sure watching on boxing.tv.
Yeah, I mean, another step on the journey, guys. Like, here we are. It's please tune in. And for those that are coming down, thank you so much for making the drive. Please check my website. I've loaded everything up there. There's the sign up for the fan bus coming from Oxford Hills, Norway, South Paris, Maine, that'll be leaving from the high school. On there's also group rates, discounts for hotels. I mean, I've literally tried to set everything up so that, there's no obstacles for people, and try to make this an experience where they can just be there and not have to worry about, my God, this now it's like a vacation having to spend all this money to come out. Yeah, AmeliaMooreBoxing.com. Check my website. Everything's on there. The bus sign up, the ticket links, use promo code more when you before you select your tickets. And yeah, let's do this. Let's just raise the roof on this bad boy, and um let the lights shine bright on the 28th. I'm stoked. I have zero nerves. I'm just like, there's so many little things, that all these like little pieces that have fallen into place, um that are just really exciting. And I wish I could share, but I'm not going to share all my secrets. And but man, I've met some really cool people in the last few months that uh that it's just helped me level up. Bringing on a new strength conditioning coach last November, and then working with some other neural trainers. And it's been such an interesting thing to like finally have those pieces kind of come into play at this point, where it's just like, this is what I always wanted. I always wanted to have that network, and how do you build that? And it's like, all these years later, it's finally happening. And I'm like, yes, I finally feel like I'm exactly where I need to be in my mind, body, and everything. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's
Awesome.
it was supposed to be, hard tracking on the pavement last year, but we're here now, so let's make it meaningful.
Yeah, for sure. Amelia Moore, March 28th, vacant NABF Lightweight Championship. Let's do a post-fight interview, yeah?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck.